I'm calling this recipe a rice and beans deluxe because it's so lush, it's so rich, it's full of flavors, and it's absolutely delicious. It's also one of my dad's favorite recipes, and this is exactly how he likes it, with smoked catfish and soft beans. And the marriage of the rice and beans and the fish is always so delicious. Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Boki and I'm a food blogger. If this is your first time here, please click the subscribe button to subscribe to my channel. For this recipe, I'm using some tatase, some onions, some tomatoes, fresh garlic, habanero or Scotch bonnet. I'm going to blend all of this to make my pepper mix. I'm using honey beans or brown beans. I'm also using smoked catfish, but you can use any smoked or dry fish of your choice. I'm using some canola oil and I'm using golden Sella Basmati rice. I use this for all of my rice dishes. I'm also using some chopped onions to cook the beans. This is going to give you a lot of flavor. For seasoning, I'm using onion powder, white pepper, dried thyme, stock cubes, curry powder, and some salt. I'm going to start by cooking the beans first. So in this pot, I'm going to add some water. I already washed my beans under cold running water to remove the dust and the dirt and whatever was in it. So I'm just going to add it straight into this pot now, and I'm going to add in the chopped onions too. For extra flavor, always cook your beans with onions. It gives it another depth of flavor that I didn't realize until a couple of weeks ago. Next, I'm going to soak my fish in hot water, and I'm going to soak my rice also for 5 to 10 minutes. I don't parboil my rice, I just soak it in hot water for 5 to 10 minutes. Next, I'm going to blend the peppers. I'm using a food processor, but you can use a blender if you don't have one. I'm using a food processor because I don't want it completely blended. I still want it rough and not smooth at all. This is the consistency of the pepper mix that I want. You can use a hand grinder or a hand blender if that's also what you have available, and you will get this texture. In this pot, I'm going to add some oil. When the oil is hot, I'm going to add in my pepper mix. I'm going to start cooking this on medium heat. If you want to boil your peppers first, feel free to do that to dehydrate it and get rid of some of the water, but I don't usually do that because I have the patience and I'm just going to let this cook. Next, I'm going to add in my smoked catfish, which I already deboned and cut into smaller pieces. I'm adding this now so that it can really start to infuse the base of this dish with all of the flavors. I'm going to stir this now, let it cook for about 2 minutes, and then I'll add in my seasoning. I'm adding the stock cubes, the onion powder, the white pepper, the curry powder, dried thyme, and a little bit of salt. I'll stir it now and cover it and let it cook. You really want your pepper base to cook properly because that is where all of the flavor for this dish is going to come from. When you're cooking anything jollof, jollof rice and beans, jollof rice, you need a lot of patience cooking that jollof base. Next, I'm going to check on my beans, and I'm okay with how soft the beans is. I don't want it too soft, just soft enough that it melts into the rice. I'm checking on my pepper base now, and I think it's dried up quite nicely and it tastes just fine. I'm going to add my rice now, which I've already washed and drained and set aside. And this is what it looks like. This rice doesn't take a long time to get soft, and it doesn't require a lot of water. It is one of the reasons I like golden Sella Basmati rice. It's already parboiled rice, so I don't need to parboil it again. I'm just going to stir it in the pepper base now before I add any water. I'm going to sort of fry it for a little bit. I like the texture that gives my rice dishes when I do it that way. So I add it into the pepper base. If I'm making a jollof dish, I add it into the pepper base and fry it for about 2 to 3 minutes before I add in any liquid. Now I'm just going to add enough water to cook the rice. If you notice, this doesn't look like a lot of water, but that's how I like to cook my rice. I add my water in a little at a time so that I don't end up with mushy or soggy rice. I really hate soggy and mushy rice, so I tend to do it this way, a little at a time. One of the questions I get asked most is how I end up with individual pieces of rice grains, even in jollof rice and fried rice. This is the tip that I'm giving you, a little water at a time. The water has dried up a little bit now, so I'm going to add the beans. It's not completely dry, there's still some water in it, but I'm going to add in beans now and mix everything together and let it all marry. The fish, the rice, the beans, all the seasoning, everything come together. I'm also going to taste it now. This is going to determine if I need to add more water, which I doubt, or if I'm just going to cover it up with a foil and let the steam finish doing the cooking. Yep, I'm going to cover it with foil paper and let the steam finish softening the rice and the beans. I'll leave this now for about 3 to 5 minutes and let it dry up some more. I'm looking at the rice now and it's not completely dry, so I'm going to leave it a couple more minutes uncovered. That's another tip when you're cooking jollof rice or jollof rice and beans. Leave it uncovered on low heat and let the water dry up. You don't want to stir it too often either. That's going to break up your rice, especially if you're not using a wooden spoon like this. It's going to break up your rice and your rice can end up being mushy or soggy. My rice looks just fine. It's not soggy or mush, and the grains are separate. They're not sticking together, and it looks just fantastic. So that is all for this deluxe rice and beans. I hope that you guys are going to try out this recipe. It's so good with the dried fish and everything. It's so delicious. Please try it out and let me know what you think. Leave me your comments and your questions in the comment section and I'll respond to them. Leave me any suggestions if you have some too. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done that. It's absolutely free, and click on the bell so that you get notifications when I post new videos. Follow me on Instagram at The Kitchen Muse and tag me in all of the lovely pictures when you recreate my recipes. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye.